Arkham Knight follows Batman as he takes on the Scarecrow, returning after his apparent death at the hands of Killer Croc in Arkham Asylum, though Arkham City features an Easter egg that reveals he had survived and has been planning a new horrifying scheme in the years since. On Halloween, Scarecrow threatens to unleash his new fear toxin across Gotham, which causes a citywide evacuation. Batman tracks him to Ace Chemicals, where he has been holed up manufacturing his scary Kool-Aid, and later learns of a device known as the Cloudburst, which Scarecrow plans on using to disperse his toxin. Scarecrow unites all the remaining villains in Gotham and partners with a new figure known as the Arkham Knight, who leads an army of militia forces and drone tanks to finally kill Batman once and for all. The Arkham Knight's forces pressure the Caped Crusader into bringing in his big guns, the Batmobile, which is drivable for the first time in the series after years of fans requesting it. With the help of his Bat Tank, he faces off against the combined might of Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight in the hopes of saving the city. The Arkham Knight, the title character of Batman Arkham Knight, who serves as the game's secondary antagonist. On paper, I really do enjoy this idea, a militarized anti-Batman that doesn't hesitate when it comes to using guns, armed militia, and even drone tanks to get the job done. Mind you, the fact that he uses tanks that don't have anyone inside of them makes Arkham Knight appear quite incompetent, the complete opposite of his partner Scarecrow. If he really wanted to strike hard at Batman like he says he wants to, you'd think he'd force him to kill, but I digress. Arkham Knight's appearance is pretty badass, having a more tech-heavy design than that of Batman, especially with his mask. The Arkham Knight has a personal vendetta, as well as history with the Dark Knight, and will stop at nothing to kill him, even though the Scarecrow has to hold him back at several points throughout the story. Arkham Knight wants to be over and done with it, but Scarecrow wants to see Batman suffer first. I like the partnership between the Arkham Knight and Scarecrow. It's fun, but their motivations don't really mesh as strongly as they should, given a team-up of this scale. They both want to attack Batman, but in entirely different ways. Scarecrow needs the muscle the Arkham Knight provides, but if the Arkham Knight really wanted to kill Batman, he wouldn't need Scarecrow. He has an entire army, just go kill him. Simple. I find most of the hate for this game is targeted primarily at the Arkham Knight himself. Rocksteady promoted him as this completely new character, stressing that his identity was some big mystery. While that is technically correct on both fronts, he has never appeared before in the Arkham universe, and when you first pick up and play this game, you don't really know who he is. The vagueness of these statements are too easy for someone to misconstrue. Many of us believed he would be a well-known Batman villain from the comics or earlier games, donning the costume of his greatest adversary. Would it be Hugo Strange, somehow brought back to life? How about Hush, who had unfinished business with Bruce Wayne and Batman at the end of Arkham City? Nope. Arkham Knight turned out to be an already established character with a different coat of paint. I mentioned that when you first pick up and play this game, you don't know who the Arkham Knight is, and I mean that, at least for the first 20 minutes or so. Any hardcore Batman fan could easily guess his identity from a mile away. Hell, even someone somewhat familiar with the comics and mythology in general would know. The longer the Arkham Knight is on screen, and the more he talks, the quicker this long list of potential candidates shrinks to just one, and the game never tries to veer you away from it. Honestly, I would have admired Rocksteady's choice a little bit more if they had even taken the effort to provide us with a few red herrings within the narrative to distract you, confuse you, make you follow the wrong trail of breadcrumbs or something, but we got nothing. Any good mystery story, especially one featuring a secret identity like this, needs a few red herrings. That's what makes the final reveal so surprising. You didn't see it coming, because the story finds ways to trick your assumptions. Who Rocksteady chose isn't necessarily the reason all this didn't work, and why I think it was lazy. It's how they told the story and revealed him. There was no effort. They didn't follow the basic structure of an effective mystery character. The Arkham Knight was revealed in the end as Jason Todd, the second Robin who was captured, beaten, tortured, and seemingly killed by the Joker within the confines of Arkham Asylum. Batman was sent video evidence of his murder and believed him to be dead. However, Todd survived and blamed Batman for abandoning him. In his traumatized state, the Joker also got to him, and in an effort to kill his former mentor, Todd donned the guise of the Arkham Knight and would team up with the Scarecrow to take him down. Though this idea is really cool, and the Arkham Knight is his own character in a way, being the identity Jason Todd takes on after Robin, but before becoming Red Hood, his similarities to the latter are what upset a lot of fans. The Arkham Knight was the result of Todd being beaten and killed within Arkham Asylum, as opposed to the warehouse which turned him into the Red Hood in the comics, not to mention all the Lazarus Pit stuff. Here, Todd falls victim to Joker's torture and manipulation, being turned against Batman, twisted into some pet project of Joker's. As the Arkham Knight, Todd's motivations are slightly different as well, more naive and in their infancy compared to that of Red Hood. The Arkham Knight is willing to team up with Batman's villains, whereas with Red Hood, at least some incarnations of him, he wants to kill them as a way to succeed where Batman failed, wasting his time arresting them over and over again. Also, the Red Hood doesn't necessarily want to kill Batman per se, just send a message, do what he didn't have the balls to in his eyes. Currently, Red Hood has become more of an anti-heroic character as well, whereas Arkham Knight is a straight-up villain. It's not until the end of the game when Jason Todd turns good, or at least as good as you're gonna get at that point. Despite all this, again, the fact that Arkham Knight was essentially Red Hood with a new coat of paint was the problem. I think fans wanted a lot more from the reveal, myself included. The honest simple truth is, though, I don't believe choosing villains like Hugo Strange, Hush, or any other character fans had speculated would have worked either, because no matter who Rocksteady chose, someone out there would have hated it. We all had that one character we wanted it to be, and if it turned out to be another, naturally, you would have been left disappointed. It was inevitable. If anything, Rocksteady played it safe choosing Todd. At least that way they are drawing from something iconic and recognizable among fans and the mainstream alike. Was it the ideal choice? Maybe not, but the safest? I think so. And this leads me to the question, who should have been the Arkham Knight? Well, I'm not going to go through my entire list of potential candidates because they are all the same characters you would have chosen. Hugo Strange, Hush, maybe even Anarchy for that matter, because after all, he wanted to be like Batman, he just didn't agree with his methods. And if Rocksteady was going to incorporate references to Arkham Origins, including Anarchy, then why not? I think he would have been a good fit. But it's been years since this game came out, and in hindsight, I think they should have avoided using any notable villains or characters from the comics entirely. They should have picked someone from the Arkham universe itself. That way, the Arkham Knight would have been entirely original, and you wouldn't run the risk of disappointing fans, or having to alter already established motivations within iconic Batman villains. So, there is one person I think would have been a great choice for the Arkham Knight, and would have made for a surprising reveal. Hear me out here, you need to suspend your disbelief a little bit with this one, but what about Penelope Young from Arkham Asylum? She died in that explosion in the first game and her body is left there, showing her as deceased, but what if Batman was under the effects of Scarecrow's fear gas more than he thought? What if Penelope survived, and much like Jason Todd, was traumatized by the inmates at the asylum, such as Joker or Zaz? I mean, she was stalked and tormented by the Joker when he wanted her Titan formula. What if she just snapped? Much like Todd, what if she blamed Batman for abandoning her, believing she was dead? It's a stretch that she would get militarized training at that point and know Batman inside and out. Then again, the character didn't need to have that in the first place. But I think Penelope working with Scarecrow would make more sense than it did with Todd, and maybe after she found out it was Scarecrow's fear gas that caused Batman to abandon her in the first place, that's what causes her change of heart, maybe even teaming up with Batman to stop him in the end. Again, this is a stretch, and you would need to seal the gaps a bit more in terms of the narrative, but I think Penelope Young would have made for an interesting Arkham Knight at least. The voice modulator, armor giving her the appearance of a male, it would have made for a cool gender bend type character, in the same vein as the Phantasm or something. Having the Arkham Knight a female would have instantly made the final reveal more surprising because you wouldn't have seen it coming. It would have subverted your expectations because everyone would have assumed the Arkham Knight was a man. It would have been a way to fix the lack of red herrings too, and because her motivations would have been similar enough to Jason Todd and Red Hood, It would have shocked you as well when it turned out to be her instead. Keep in mind, Young was also a psychiatrist in the same way Jonathan Crane was, and having two of them targeting Batman's psyche like that would have worked wonders. I know all this is a stretch, and in some areas, it's a bit messy, but I find it a lot more interesting and unique than just picking Jason Todd as the Arkham Knight. If you have someone better from the Arkham universe that isn't from the comics, I'm all ears. But unfortunately, this concept of mine is dead, lying on the floor in the Arkham mansion.